Come have an intellectual conversation with me right now. Because you can't. Because you're a drug addict yourself. With fucking cracked off teeth. I'm doing amazing architect on a computer and you're telling me I'm nodding out? Are you fucking numbnut, you fucking stupid fuck?
7 police officers here and a fucking a psychiatric evaluation done to me in 20 minutes and they left. And I'm here. And I'm allowed to have this 308 right here next to me. You understand what I'm
saying? This is what can happen when parents realize their son is the winning lottery ticket and is put to work full-time at only 9 years old. With hundreds of millions of dollars being poorly spent and unevenly divided, along with all the behind-the-scene pressures associated with the music industry. Aaron Carter was one of 5 siblings growing up in Tampa Bay, Florida. He made his first stage appearance at 9 years old, opening for his brother's band, the Backstreet Boys, at their concert in Germany in 1997, performing the song by the Jets, Crush on You. That performance earned the 9-year-old a record deal, and later that year he released his first single. That year his self-titled album was released and went gold. His second album, Aaron's Party, Come Over, released in 2000 and sold over 3.5 million copies and went triple platinum. His most famous song being the insane mega hit, I Want Candy. That's just one of the greatest songs ever made. In 2001, he slowly started acting, appearing in one iconic Disney show, Lizzie McGuire.
Merry Christmas, Lizzie McGuire.
And made his Broadway debut playing JoJo the Who in the musical Seussical. I don't know if I said that right. It was that year he struck up a relationship with Disney star Hilary Duff and was also caught in a love triangle with another Disney star, Lindsay Lohan. In the same year, the 13-year-old released another album, Oh Aaron, with features from his brother and a band called No Secrets, which again went platinum, with 3 songs off the album being on the Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius film soundtrack. There is no way a 13-year-old could do all that without being overworked and deprived of a social life. With a short turnaround, Aaron's 4th album, Another Earthquake, released in 2002, the hit single being Do You Remember? That year Aaron's momager, yes, he was managed by his mom and dad since the beginning of his career, filed a lawsuit against Lou Pearlman, the owner of the label Transcontinental, which was settled outside of court in 2003. In 2004, he accused his mom of taking over $100,000 from his bank account without his permission, and later, prior to appearing on MTV Cribs to show off his 17-acre compound with over 15 houses, 2 yachts, and an insane car collection, he found out his parents were getting divorced. Later that year, his mom, Jane Carter, was arrested for battery after breaking into her husband's house and allegedly attacking her husband's girlfriend. The only effect that's going to have on a kid is a negative one. In 2005, he starred in the direct-to-DVD film Popstar, which was heavily based on his life.
So what? I'm a pop star.
The Carter family reality show House of Carters came out shortly after, which followed all 5 siblings living together. It also showed the audience that things behind the scenes weren't so happy.
You're gonna turn the music down and respect me, alright? Spit in my face, alright? Don't spit in my face, alright? You're gonna respect me. Don't spit in my face. Respect me. Don't spit in my face, Nick.
We can see that this was just another money-making opportunity, most likely for his parents' own benefit. There's a California law in place to protect child actors called the Coogan Law, named after John Coogan, one of the first child stars in Hollywood. His parents took all his money made throughout his career. He then sued his parents, provoking California to protect this from happening to more kids. This became the Coogan Law. His parents were supposed to place 15% of his earnings into his Coogan account to access when he turned 18. Instead of receiving tens of millions of dollars, he was left with just $2 million and owed over $4 million in taxes. Stating later in an interview with Vlad TV, his parents blew between $350 to $500 million, all made through his career.
Somewhere between like 350, 400, 500 million dollars. Yeah, easily, man.
How many houses did they have?
Well, we had 15 houses. Total cars, we had about 30. Yeah, 25 golf carts, basketball courts, 5 pools, dirt bike tracks, 2 70-foot yachts, 14 jet skis, just insanity.
At that time, his parents finally settled their divorce and everything was sold, and he saw none of the money. This is when Aaron said he was quitting music for good and claimed his dad shot a .44 Magnum next to his right ear, making him 70% deaf in that ear.
He pinned me down and shot a .44 Magnum next to my right ear, making me go 70% deaf in my right ear.
That year, he got engaged to ex-Playboy star Carrie Ann Paniche,
Will you marry me? Holy shit. This is real, by the way.
which ended after 6 days. In 2008, Aaron was arrested for the first time in Texas for speeding, and less than 2 pounds of marijuana were found in the car. Having made bad financial decisions in 2009, Aaron appeared in the 9th season of Dancing with the Stars, along with releasing a single with Flo Rida after not releasing music for a few years. In 2011, he entered rehab in the Betty Ford Rehab Center, where child stars such as Lindsay Lohan and Amanda Bynes also went. Later in 2011, he starred in an off-Broadway show called The Fantastics, where in another Vlad TV interview said he did over 500 shows and received $654 a week living in New York City.
I ended up booking a gig at the Fantastics for 500 shows. I did 500 shows straight. $654 I made a week living in New York City.
Around this time, his sister Leslie died of a drug overdose, which definitely had a heavy impact on Aaron at the time. After, he made a brief stint on the Food Network and started his first tour in over 8 years, the After Party Tour. It wasn't until 2013 he filed for bankruptcy to shed over $3.5 million in taxes, mostly made when he was a kid at the peak of his career, with his parents failing to pay tax on his earnings. In 2014, he announced another tour and made a rare performance on morning television performing his new single, Ooh Wee, Ooh Wee, Ooh Wee. It's fun to say, Ooh Wee. Later in 2015, he released an EP titled The Music Never Stopped on SoundCloud. Between 2016 and 2017, he released 2 singles, announced he was bisexual in a tweet, but was arrested again on suspicion of driving under the influence and another marijuana charge. He made a number of appearances on the TV show The Doctors to discuss his public drug-related arrests. On the show, he admitted that he was addicted to huffing.
I lied to you. I just told you the truth. Huffing was what I was doing.
Which is slang for inhalant abuse, which involved inhaling fumes from household products such as glue or paint, which produces a high similar to that of alcohol. Later that year, he released his first studio album in over 15 years titled Aaron Carter, Love. 2019 was a turbulent year for Aaron. He granted a restraining order over his ex-girlfriend Lena Valentina after she allegedly threatened to stab him, and made allegations of abuse against his sister Leslie, who passed away years prior, along with accusing his brother Nick of lifelong abuse. Nick then filed a restraining order against Aaron after he reportedly confessed to wanting to kill his wife and unborn child. That year, Aaron and his mom took part in Marriage Boot Camp, Family Edition, to focus on repairing their strained relationships. He then returned to the doctor's show and disclosed he'd been diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar,
acute anxiety, a manic depressive,
which explains his behavior on Logan Paul's podcast, Impulsive.
And I've been doing this longer than all y'all, no offense. All right? Don't insult my intelligence, you know what I mean?
Appearing on Steve-O's Wild Ride podcast, he said that he'd only purchased his first house in 2019 due to bad financial decisions and how his parents spent his money.
And this was the first house I ever bought in my career or anything. Wow. Surprisingly, because, I made a lot of money, but I never made the right decisions.
In 2020, Aaron had multiple interviews with Adam22 on No Jumper and Vlad TV, where he spoke about his rise to fame, family relationships, and struggles of growing up famous. But something no one expected Aaron to do was start an OnlyFans, charging between $50 to $100 for pictures or a $26 monthly subscription. Then Aaron suddenly decides to have a boxing match with NBA legend Lamar Odom, which was a mismatch from the get-go. Lamar Odom is 6'10" and a pro athlete. Aaron's first son was born in November 2021 to fiancée Melanie Martin, and days later he brought his 4-day-old son to his Vlad TV interview.
Come here, baby boy. Nice.
There we go. There we go.
On November 2nd, 2022, No Jumper released another Aaron Carter interview, not knowing it would be his last. On November 5th, 2022, Aaron's body was found in the bathtub in his Lancaster home in California by his housekeeper and declared dead at 11:14 a.m. 2 days after his death, his final album, Blacklisted, was released, and he left behind a 1-year-old son.